or more almost, we have been very strident on the atheism part of what we do. But that's not what we're all about. Of late, I've been concentrating on the humanism, secular humanism part of our mission, and pondering about maybe reaching out and wanting to get religious folks involved in our shared desire to be humanists and to push for human rights. So, if you're a believer that aligns with us in wanting to forward the humanist agenda, or if you're an atheist that thinks we should have no truck with these kinds of people and we would be betraying our mission if we do so, or if you're one of those Christian nationalists that think that Christian nationalism is cool and neat and fine and should be implemented, we'd like to hear from all of you because the show starts now. Good afternoon, everybody, if afternoon is where you actually are. My name is Jamie the Blind Limey, and you are watching live Talk Heathen. It is March 8th, 2026, and I am joined today by The Thinker. How are you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm being very time zone centric. I know it was probably not the afternoon in some places people are watching, but I don't care. Okay. In terms of watching, we are going live to TikTok. So if you're watching the vertical stream on the old TikTok, welcome to the show. We're also going live on YouTube in more horizontal fashion. Welcome to the YouTube viewers too. And do make sure that you like us and follow those channels if you want to get more of what we do. Now, if you want to get involved with the show, we are a live call-in show and we do have open lines. So you can either reach out to us on the phone number 512-991-9242 or on your computer at tiny.cc/call-th. We'd love to hear from you and see what you're all about. And if you happen to miss us or you can't make it, then you can, as I say, sign up on TikTok or on the YouTubes for us, and also find us wherever you find your podcasts, including Patreon. So don't forget to get out there and check that out. And as ever, the AA Talk Heathen is a product of the Atheist Community of Austin, a 501c3 non-profit organisation dedicated to atheism, critical thinking, secular humanism, and the separation of religion and government. Okie dokie. So you're looking forward to the show, Thinker? You've been on a few of our shows. I haven't had the pleasure of working with you yet, so how are you feeling?
I am looking forward to the show. I think it's a good topic today. I'm feeling great. I've been on Talk Heathen once and a couple of the other shows. So, yeah. Looking forward to
Fantastic.
some good conversations.
Excellent. And speaking of being on the shows, while we are up here flapping our gums, it's not just us two that are getting involved. I'd like to bring up the crew cam, if I could, or if they could, because this show could not happen without the efforts of plenty of hard-working volunteers in the background. That includes call screeners, moderators, the tech crew. There they are. Watch them go, who are juggling far more technical things now. We are streaming live to multiple platforms. And if you want to get involved, if you want to be part of this crew, then you can do so. You can apply to be a moderator on the TikTok. You can look into being part of the crew. You can look into maybe co-hosting or even eventually being a main host of one of the shows. And if you want to get that involved with that, you can send us an email to volunteer@atheist-community.org. And you too could perhaps be in this seat and do a better job than I can, because I'm, amateur at best. I think we can all agree. Okie dokie. Well, let's see what we've got here. So we were talking before we were going live and just discussing a few things that were on our mind. And you were mentioning that the topic that we've got today about working with religious people brings up the question of belief. Like, one of the reasons people are religious is because they believe in a god or gods, usually. So, I mean, how do you think belief informs people's actions as it pertains to like humanism or human rights? What's on your mind with that one?
I think it's the whole conversation around morality, and a lot of people, specifically Christian and Islam and Judaism, like the Abrahamic religions, believe that their morality is grounded in their God and in their sacred texts. And it's usually a person that's informing them what a God has said and what a God wants, like interpreting these texts. And so their loyalty to this God and to the doctrine informs their decisions and how they engage in society, how they treat people, the decisions they make regarding where they live, how they spend their money, what they wear, policies that they advocate for or against. I think it informs a lot of that depending on if it aligns with their religious beliefs.
Yeah, I mean, belief informs action, and that's why I'm a bit conflicted about. I mean, even though I'm promoting this, desire to want to reach out to people of faith who are progressive and who are humanist, I've said it before. There's no minimum safe dose of bullshit, in my opinion,
Right.
and
Yeah.
so I am still slightly conflicted if someone's coming to beliefs that align with mine, but through irrational thoughts, like they believe it's the will of their God. How constant is that belief? Can it be changed? Can they, should I just shut up and accept it until the job is done and then we can go to the pub afterwards and discuss it over a few cold drinks? I don't know. So, I mean, you mentioned also that that it comes down to the documents that they adhere to, their doctrine, their faith, their holy book. And we have documents in law that we adhere to, the Constitution and all that. And we were talking before the show, and one of the big scary things that we find with Christian nationalism, the encroachment of Christian nationalism into the halls of power, is them trying to force religious doctrine into law and also use religious doctrine to justify things that we would otherwise find abhorrent. So you were talking about slavery because it's still in the Constitution as a punishment for imprisonment, and it's certainly in the Bible. So what are your thoughts on that?
I think a lot of people don't know that the religious text that they're subscribing to, specifically in Christianity, does condone slavery, and it lays out the structure for the same type of slavery that we've seen during the antebellum South and the transatlantic slave trade. And then they, the excuse or the apologetic that they typically give for it is, oh, it was prisoners of war. And so now we're at a time where even that apologetic is giving way to policies being created that says the people that are being currently being detained uh, now for immigration could be seen as prisoners of war
I mean,
and could be turned into slaves.
they use rhetoric like invasion. They have I have heard the operations in places like Minnesota referred to as holy crusades. That's not terrifying at all. And so, I mean, how worried do you think we should be about that kind of?
I think we should be worried. I think, it's one of the reasons why, when people watch my live, they always ask, why is she so angry? Do you see what the state of the world is in right now? Do you see what's happening and what's possible, like what's on the horizon? And I don't think enough people are sounding the alarm loud enough. Like there are people talking about it, but a lot of people want to approach it in a very friendly, apologetic manner. But sometimes I think you have to get loud and sound the alarm.
Yeah, and again, we're calling out to callers of faith who don't hold truck with owning people as farm equipment and don't wish to defend it. Like, we're not going to ask you to, renounce what you believe right now, but we'd be interested in how you square that circle. Like, your book says this thing, and you acknowledge it and acknowledge that it's immoral. how do you square it? That'd be interesting to hear if anyone would be willing to come up. And we're nice here. We're not fighty unless you get fighty first. We try and have actual conversations here if at all possible. So we don't bite.
I mean, I might bite. I can't make that promise. No.
I would put in the dad doctrine of don't start a fight, always finish one. So yeah, you don't have to lay down and let them run roughshod over you. But yeah, we want to encourage people to call, and we are running a little bit of a. I say experiment. We're trying to broaden our horizons. Thinker being a TikTok wonderkind as compared to the rest of us chuds here over on YouTube, has the power to bring up TikTok guests to the stream. So if you're on TikTok and you don't want to call us on 512-991-9242 or on the call tiny.cc/call th, you can try guesting up on TikTok to give a chat to us as well. So we do still have open lines. We are still looking for people to call in and chat to us. But having said all that about morality, about slavery, about how Christian doctrine specifically in this country is being used as a cudgel to justify these predations on people who are innocent, basically. Considering that religion, specifically Christianity, is a tool in that toolbox, a weapon in that arsenal, what are your feelings on the ethos of our talking points? Do you think we can work with Christians? Do you think we can work with religious people?
Honestly, I mean, I think we need to be able to. I don't know that it's possible because a lot of them see it as a suspension of their belief and, going against their God. We actually are having this conversation on one of my. We're having this conversation in our community right now on another atheist's live stream. And she's asking the same question if atheists and Christians can get along for the sake of humanity and what's going on in the world. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times those conversations end in arguments because they feel like they would have to agree with something that, that we don't necessarily see as immoral and suspend their belief. For example, the concept of, a lifestyle for people who are homosexual. They feel like that they would have to suspend their belief in, whether that is moral or immoral in order to fight for the human rights of, that group of people.
Yeah.
And so I think we need to be able to work together. I'm not as optimistic that's something that we can achieve. Just simply because I think the belief gets in the way.
I'm a little more optimistic, but I understand where you're coming from. Also, I would like to preface what I'm going to say with we should not demand that any atheist individually or even any atheist org get involved with religious people if they don't feel that it's right for them. Because people quite rightly have things like deep religious trauma, like they have had experiences that are extremely upsetting and traumatic, caused directly by the structures of faith that they were brought up in. And I don't want to minimize that. We understand, a lot of us personally understand how traumatic that can be. But I do have seen. I can words good. I have seen, and I do feel that I've encountered people who profess faith who are talking the right way in the ways that I would hope that they would. That they are espousing things like loving everyone regardless, of their faith, their lifestyle, their gender expression, their sexuality. Again, naming no names, I've even heard certain lawmakers who profess to be practicing Christians, but also and deeply faithful, but also very, very much on the whole, we are all made in God's image. Yes, even trans people. Yes, even gay people. Yes, even immigrants. Now we're all human. God must look very strange. uh, and then even public figures like Stephen Colbert is one that comes to mind, who is ostensibly a Catholic, but is also extremely progressive. And I'm like, and is willing to use his platform to go up against those in the halls of power who are predating on the innocent and the downtrodden. Baffles the crap out of me, but does give me some hope.
I think like a small group, similar to the group of people who decided to go against the masses, go against the teachings and the belief in order to abolish slavery. And it's going to take the same type of strategy. I think they had to reinterpret scripture in order to convince people that slavery, that the God of the Bible was against slavery, that Jesus came and spoke against slavery, despite the fact that there are very pro-slavery scriptures in the Bible. Paul, if Jesus was talking to Paul through his mind, Paul said, "Slaves, obey your masters." Like, so the progressive Christians at that time had to kind of work with the scriptures and reinterpret it to convince people that the Bible was saying something different. So I think it's going to take that same type of willingness to do that, and it's I like I don't know. Like I hope that we can. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, another part of our mission is promoting critical thinking, and that's kind of how I try and approach what we do here when in terms of promoting atheism, because I think that atheism, a lack of belief in a god, gods, or the supernatural, goes hand in hand with critical thinking. If you actually just think about these kinds of things, like from an external perspective and criticize it rationally, like, yeah, no, this none of this makes any bloody sense. Why do I believe this? What are the reasons? Why the epistemology behind it? So I'm hoping that maybe through doing shows like this and with the efforts of people like yourself, we can encourage people to start their deconstruction journey and get on board that way as well. But again, like you say, Christianity is littered with basically so many instances of them retrofitting the scripture to suit whatever lifestyle or political ends they want to achieve, good or bad. That's the wonderful thing about a book that is so vague and so open to interpretation.
So we do have someone in the TikTok queue. Before I bring that up, I do want to ask, like, do you think the we're waiting on Christians to agree to work with atheists, or do you think we're waiting on atheists and Christians both to agree to work together?
I think it's part half and half. I have worked with the ACA has worked with organisations like what's it called? Impact Texas, I think it was called, another nonprofit, and a lot of the people there were religious, and we were fighting against things like the mandate to put the Ten Commandments in schools in Texas, and some of the key people there was a rabbi, and a Christian minister, and a believing scholar of the Bible, and they had beef with it, not just because they earnestly believe in the separation of religion and government like we do here at the ACA, but they were like, there's very sort of questions I didn't even think, like, yeah, they want to put the Ten Commandments in. Whose Ten Commandments? Because there's more than one version, and they are different. They are different in which commandments they show, which what the phrasing is, how they produce it, and often it's the KJV version they want to put up on the stones in front of courthouses. And there's a lot of Christians like, that's not even close to the most accurate translation of that text. Can we at least put a more historically accurate one up, please? Which does just throw open the naked politicization of the scripture, not it's historically accurate, it's culturally necessary, etc., etc. So yeah, I think it's already starting. Go ahead.
But I think, like, even in that conversation, it's deciding which ones to put up. Not that it shouldn't be in there at all, because not everyone teaches their children about religion or a God, and that should be left up to the parents whether they want to indoctrinate their children into a belief. or whether they want to allow their child to make that decision for themselves.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I understand that different belief systems will fight for their respective belief to be respected,
Yeah.
but not that of a non-believer or an atheist.
Well, the corollary to that, which is thankful for this, is that it's like if we can't decide on one, we'll have none, because it just shouldn't be shoved down people's throats in general, and it's just another reason why. It's just another rationalization that these words have no place in the circle of law in this country. So I think it's starting. I think it could be more, and I think on both sides, though, again, I'm slightly biased. I think that the atheists that I know are a little bit more open to working with progressives in the religious space than religious people are willing to work with atheists in some ways, because especially if they feel that their altruism comes from God, and we're like, God, do not be doing the existing. That's a hard block for them, I think.
Yeah. Do you want me to bring up the guests now?
Please do, yes.
Okay. Let's see. We have Dave 8 for King.
Dave? Oh, I think I'm assuming he's referring to like the Book of David.
Hello, Dave.
Hello, can you hear us?
I see him talking, but I can't hear him.
Yeah, I'm not getting the audio on that, unfortunately. We might have some technical issues there, Dave. We really would like to talk to you, and if you are having trouble getting through on TikTok, then you can still call us free through your phone on the computer, no charge, at tiny.cc/call-th.
Oh, TikTok can hear. They can hear through TikTok, but we can't hear him for some reason.
Crikey, oh blimey. Told you we were neophytes into this whole TikTok malarkey.
1 second, Dave, while we get that.
We work on we have the background beavers work on the tech issues, because we do honestly want to talk. I always feel slightly paranoid when we.
Oh, he said he's going to grab some headphones. Okay.
Okay.
Maybe that might be why we can't hear him.
I don't know. I'm not entirely sure.
But I think while we wait on the audio here, I think you did make a good point, right? Since they can agree on which ones to use, that means that nothing goes in the schools. But my concern is what happens if they agree, if they come together and decide to use some universal version of the Ten Commandments that they all agree with. Then do we get the Ten Commandments in the schools, or do they start considering the rights of people who don't hold a belief?
Yeah, that is a worry, and it's a valid worry. And as much as I say that faith is not a great way to seek truth, to quote one of my favorite movie characters, you got to have a little faith, baby. I just have to put my trust in these people's intentions to work with them, and call me gullible, call me something just went bloop. I don't know what that was, but I am willing to give them the benefit of the doubt, so long as their actions are aligning with mine for now. If it turns out it's all a big betrayal and then stab us in the back.
Am I heard now?
Oh, there we go.
There you
Yes,
go,
you're coming through, Dave.
Hi.
Hello there.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Can you hear
All
us,
right.
Dave?
Yes, I hear you guys loud and clear. And greetings to everyone on the panel. How you guys doing today?
Doing very well. So what's on your mind?
I came, I've been here for about 5 minutes, so I kind of get the whole gist of it. A little background about myself, though. I am a Christian. And I see you guys are atheists, I guess. My thing about that is atheist than being a Christian. Why I say that? Because unless you have enough proof to show how all this came to be, we got here. Going through what atheists believe over the years, because that's the word too, atheism. It's not like the lack of belief. I believe it's just more like denial on the fact that there is a higher being, so to speak.
Okay.
But Dave, let me ask you a question. Okay, let's say your God does exist. Okay. Now what? What does that do for our
Well,
physical reality? What does that do or change in our physical reality today? Because that's the conversation we want to have with
that's
you as a believer, right? We want to know if atheists and believers can work together for humanity.
oh
Is
yeah,
our lack of
definitely.
disbelief in a God going to stop that?
No, the only misconception, so to speak, would be I believe, as a believer, I believe this is not it. I don't believe I'm an accident. I don't believe this whole thing came by accident. And I don't believe when one, passes on, that's it. That is.
Okay. I mean, and you're perfectly entitled to your beliefs, of course. I mean, we would have our own opinions on them, and as I've said, we can debate the rationality and epistemology of those beliefs. We're kind of wanting to put that aside a little bit to talk more about how we can come together for the furtherment of humanity, for the betterment of it, and maybe we could frame that in finding out where our common ground is with you. But in terms of accident, I mean, you're making statements about atheism and atheists. I mean, there's two of them in front of you right now. You could just ask us what we believe, because while in some vernacular atheism is a denial of a higher power, I'm an agnostic atheist. I don't know if there is a God, but I have not been given sufficient proof, or well, evidence, not proof. Proof is a maths thing. Sufficient evidence or argument to convince me. And furthermore, there are pretty strong arguments against the existence of at least the triune Christian God. Things like the problem of divine hiddenness and that kind of thing. So I'm not convinced of the existence of the God, but that's less germane to me right now, in that, do our morals align nominally so we can work towards humanist goals, like the flourishing of humanity? So what do you think about that, Dave?
Oh yeah, that's fair, and I get your drift. I get where you're coming from.
Okay.
But if I have to flip it around, what is morale, or where do you think you get your morale from? Because you're
But
presupposing that.
So
Yeah, go ahead.
we can. Okay, but actually, you take it, thinker. Go ahead.
I just want to know, does it matter where we get the morals from? Like, I think what I notice from a lot of believers of a God is that you focus more on giving your God credit for something than you do on the actual impact that you as a human have in society, or on humanity. We can take the walk for peace that the monks recently did, and the amount of Christian believers who were more upset that they were walking for peace in the name of themselves and not a God, that they disrupted the peace. And so your focus more on giving credit or credence to what it is that you have decided to believe for yourself than you are the impact on humanity. And that's the conversation that we're trying to have with you.
What I can say is
Dave, you cut out. We can't
the
hear
way the
you.
world is today.
The way the world is
Am I
today.
back
Yeah.
on? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're back.
I was saying the way the world, yeah, okay, the way the world is today, I believe we don't just get here by accident. Religion has always had a role to play to shape what we know as the world today, So that is a fact that we cannot deny. We know what could happen in a lawless state, So which is why I still pose my first question. That morale, you think somebody can just live good don't believe in God or anything, where do you get your own morals?
Does it matter, Dave? If I believe that it's wrong to kill and you believe that it is wrong to kill, does it matter where that morality came from?
Yes, it does matter. And I'll
So
tell you why.
Why? If I don't kill people, do less people get hurt?
Exactly. Thou shalt not kill, right? Where do you think you got that from?
But I got
Why
it from
do
the
you
fact that
care?
I don't want to kill. Like, right?
That's-
all y'all
that's what I'm
focus on.
saying.
All you focus on is giving your God credit. We're talking about
No,
humanity.
what I'm trying to say is right now, we are living right now in a world that is governed by laws. You understand perfectly well where you stay right now, just like you used that example. You don't go kill people.
I know that I'm going to go to jail if I do, Dave. If I go,
Exactly.
right?
And-
That I learned. The first thing that I learned about not killing somebody is that you go to jail. That's the
Yeah.
first thing that I learned. I didn't learn that a God is
So
going to send me to hell.
those laws that are put in place to somewhat govern your state, those laws that are put in place, if you steal, you get caught, you go to jail and stuff. Where do you think those laws came from?
Not from your God.
No, and Dave, I don't think you want to start trying to construe morality and legality, because if the moral thing is not to kill, there's plenty of legal reasons that in Texas, can end a life. We have the castle doctrine and stand your ground laws. You come into my house, you're fair game. So there are plenty of legal ways I can do the immoral thing. Legal and moral quite often do not overlap. So, and we, as atheists, are putting aside our questioning of the reasons why you think you're moral. Like, as I say, we could have this debate about why you think morals come from a God and is written on your heart and in the Bible. That leads into the morality of things like the Bible, which we can also question, as we were talking about earlier in the show. But we are distinctly and specifically wanting to put that argument aside, so long as your morality, wherever it comes from, aligns with our own. We can have that discussion about whether it comes from God or as an evolutionary thing or a societal thing after Christofascism is deep underground where it needs to be, like put down. So could you put that question of where does your morals come from aside? You said that you can't, and why?
Yeah, sure.
If we agree with you morally, why does it matter that we don't believe it comes from a God?
Okay, maybe I started off on the wrong foot. Let me see if I can take this approach instead. We're not going to talk about the moral grounds of things, just like you said, but if I have to put my Bible down and you put your own morals down, let's go with what we see on a day-to-day basis. Observational proof, so to speak. At this point, I'm not going to use my Bible and you're not going to use your own morale. We have to try to see right now how this whole thing came, how everything came to be. Like I said,
are you saying to put down your morale? Who said that?
Yeah, we don't. We're
No.
Put down your
I'm just
Bible.
saying
As long as your Bible is.
I never said put it down. I'm giving an example.
You did. You said that you would put down your Bible and we would put down our own
I
morale.
said he just said we should put the moral part of things aside. That's what he just said.
Discussing
correct?
where it comes from.
Yeah, we should be moral. This whole discussion is about morality and aligning our morals.
Okay. So, let me give this example. If we talk about let's say the Roman Empire way back in the day, for example, those leaders, they have to act a certain way, for them, what they are doing is moral. The way they actually, governed their own region, to them is moral to them. But we know this because an emperor can come, maybe take your key, and there's nothing you can do about it. Why? Because he's the emperor. I can try to feed my family. To me, I'm doing something moral to go out there. Maybe what I have to do is kill somebody and steal his goods just to come feed my family. For me, I'm doing something moral to take care of my own family. But at what end? You see what I'm saying? So
Dave,
we can't just...
yes, you can, because there was a point in time where it was moral under your God to own other people as property. There was a time when it was moral under your God to discriminate on the basis of ethnicity to decide who would be lifetime slaves. And it
That is
wasn't
not
your,
true.
it wasn't there. That is true. There wasn't, and it still isn't anything in your Bible where your God says no longer do that. It took human
Yes.
beings. No, it wasn't. It took progressive
I'll give
believers.
an example.
Let me finish speaking. It took progressive believers in your God and atheists and people of other belief systems to come together to fight against that belief and that teaching to abolish slavery. And people who all believed that owning another human, taking away the body autonomy, the physical freedom of another human being was immoral, came together. They put their differences aside. They came together to work towards abolishing that system. And that is the conversation that we are trying to have with you today. If they had sat and discussed and fought about what God gets credit, it would not have ever happened.
Now that you mentioned slavery and how the Bible projects slavery, it seems to me you don't really understand the Jewish tradition. The same Bible you're talking about, that the Bible didn't end slavery, that is not true. The Old Testament talk about God telling the Jews themselves. And one thing with slavery, it's not like they go out there and they make slaves. The Old Testament said when you have a sojourner among you and decide to worship the God of the Bible,
that's not what Leviticus says. You may buy your slaves from the lands around you. It's very explicit. You can go into neighboring territories and take people, buy people as property. These people are your property, or in some translations, your money that you can pass down to your children. They are property. They're basically farm equipment with heartbeats. Now, if you want to argue that the New Testament, the New Covenant says otherwise, and I'm no Bible expert, but I'm pretty sure Think can back me up on this. Paul says, and he says he talked to Jesus, that slaves obey your masters, even the cruel ones. So the book is very vehement that you can absolutely own slaves. You own them like property, and that they should obey their masters, even if they are cruel. So that's all in the text. That's black and white in the text. And as Thinker was... Go ahead.
What does this text say about the 7th year of the Jubilee? They have to let those slaves go, right?
That is
only
what
Israelites
only.
If I owe you money, and I don't have that money to pay, I can put myself in that position to work for you.
Dave, that is
that's
for
still immoral.
Israelites only.
That's what I said,
But hold on, you say that we don't understand how slavery was structured in ancient Israel, and it sounds like you don't.
But I'm telling you,
because hold on, Dave, you do not interrupt when he is talking, so don't interrupt when I'm talking. You say that we don't understand how slavery was structured in ancient Israel. In Leviticus 25, starting at verse 39, it lays out who can be a debt slave or a hired worker. And it is specifically Israelites who are released at Jubilee. And Jubilee was every 7 years or every 50 years. But for the sojourners, the foreigners, they were to be enslaved for life. There was no Jubilee release date for them. They were property for life, and they were passed down to the Israelites' children as an inheritance. And that starts at verse 44 through 46. And it doesn't matter. Even requiring someone to give up their freedom or their autonomy because they owe you some money, it's still slavery.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, indentured servitude of that, that's what I was saying earlier. I don't think that's moral either. And people try and equate it to like modern work. Oh, you're a slave to your boss. My boss isn't allowed to beat me to within an inch of my life, right? So there is no justification for biblical slavery, and people in the past have used it as justification for slavery in the real world, chattel slavery. It's even in our constitution. It's still a punishment for crimes. You can be a slave. And I think that's immoral too. So would you, but given all that...
You gotta understand, some of these lands that were conquered by the Jews, you know, they were involved in some of the most barbarous practices out there.
Don't care. They can't be doing something barbarous. No, they can't be doing anything barbarous enough to warrant permanently removing their freedom and agency. I am not a punitive... Dave, give me a sec. I'm not a punitive punishment person. I'm a rehabilitative punishment person. If they were truly being as barbaric as you say, the idea is not to raze them all to the ground, kill the men, take the women. It is educate them, help them, give them things they need so they understand the rightness of your morality, and not enslave them. So even that is grossly immoral to me. Prisoners of war, they were sacrificing children and whatever, so says the book. Plenty of cultures around the world have done abhorrent things in the past, and I would much prefer a series of education and integration rather than punishment, slavery, and annihilation. And it seems that we're not morally aligned on that. What do you think, Dave?
But you forgot the condition. You just excluded the condition. If those other regions that are being taken over by the Jews, if they come to the love of the true God, the God of the Jews, now you don't treat them as a slave. They are integrated into the community. You treat them as one of your brothers, meaning they are able to marry. That is true.
That is not true. That when it talks about loving a sojourner in that text, that sojourner is not a slave. That sojourner is free. That sojourner is leasing land. Stop cutting me off. Like you never open your mouth when he speaks, but every time I speak, you cut me off. That is not true. The sojourner there is able to lease land from the Israelite. The Israelite is able to even sell himself to the sojourner. And then the sojourner has to release the Israelite during Jubilee, or one of an Israelite brother can buy and pay the debt to release the Israelite out of it. But if you are a slave in Israel as a sojourner, you are held for life. There is no road to freedom. And again, Dave, the question is, first off, we are in 2026. And what we are asking is, with your belief that slavery is moral or justifiable if somebody owes you some money, or if it's a war crime, we have people being detained right now in our country. I don't know where you are, but we have people being detained right now in detention centers, immigration detention centers. Are you saying that it would be morally just for the people who own the private prisons to make them slave labor?
Dave?
Yeah, now you're talking about those in prison. They're in prison because they committed crimes, right?
A lot of them have only committed a civil offence, being undocumented. Several of the people in detention are US citizens that have committed no crime other than maybe expressing their First Amendment rights. And it is legal to make them slaves, let us not forget, under the Constitution. So it's legal. They could legally make them work for no money. They, in fact, do quite often make these people work for no money or to little money pittances while they are imprisoned. Is that moral?
I don't know what state you live in, but we agree with me that those laws are put in place for a reason. You know,
is
those
it moral?
laws that we still talk. If what is moral, put them.
What
put them
he
as
just
slaves.
asked you.
Yeah, is requiring unpaid labor from prisoners regardless of their crime, moral?
No, I don't think it's moral, and I don't think any state is actually engaging in such things. I think this
They absolutely are. You know that about 80% of all of the incidental materials used by the military, such as helmets, flak jackets, dog tags, they're made for free. Well, not for free. The military pays the prison industrial complex, but prisoners make those materials, often for no pay or pennies on the dollar. They are slaves, or at the very least indentured servants without recourse of refusal. They can't say no to that work. They'd be punished if they did. So don't come at me like, oh, I don't think anyone does it. It's rife through the US.
No. I get where you're coming from. Don't do the crime, don't do the time.
No. Do a crime, don't be enslaved. I don't think criminals should be slaves. I think they should be rehabilitated. We seem to be at cross purposes here, Dave. Pardon me, I'm getting a little bit overheated. I'll calm down. But no, seriously, what I'm starting
to... Yeah, I'm sorry,
understand...
man. I don't mean to...
No, it's fine.
I don't mean to rile you up. I'm just saying. Okay, I like you, my friend. What I'm saying is just the same example you made, right? You're talking about them being imprisoned. They are being taken care of for free, correct? They have shelter, correct? They are not.
No, we are talking about their autonomy being taken away and being treated as slaves. There was a bill presented in 2024 to make them lifetime slaves. And the bounty hunter program, the same thing they did during the antebellum South, the Fugitive Slave Act, where they paid $1,000 for bounty hunters to catch runaway slaves who was trying to get to freedom. A bill was presented. Hold on. I'm not as nice as Jamie, okay? I'm not. A bill was presented. I'm sorry. I don't care. I don't care. Will you stop interrupting me? Stop.
Don't take it like that.
A bill was presented. A bill was presented to hold the immigrant detainees in prison, those that get convicted, to make them slaves for life, to hold them in prison for life. And then they were suggesting to pay $1,000 for each immigrant turned in by just regular citizens. This is where this apologetic of, it was just war crimes. Like, you all don't want to believe that your God condones slavery. So you've apologized for it using, it's just war, it's war crimes, it's work. And now we are in this place today in 2026, where we literally have to have the conversation of whether or not you are going to agree to make these people slaves, or to allow the owners of private prisons and all these detention centers that's being popped up all over the place to make slave labor out of them.
Mm. So you said that slavery is immoral, Dave, but then you immediately started to apologize for it. So should we or should we not? If you and I got together, would you come with me to the halls of power to campaign against indentured servitude and slavery in prisons? Would you be on board with that?
Of course, I will be on board. And
so if you are, Dave, 1 sec. If you are, stop apologizing for slavery. Just stop. Don't try and justify it. It doesn't make you look good. It makes I
never apologize for anything. I was apologizing for cutting you off.
No, I mean apologetics, like justifying slavery, or like justifying it in the Bible, or justifying it in history, or just say slavery is bad. It's always been bad. It's never been good, and we shouldn't have it. How hard is that?
Okay, let me tell you something though. Even with this law we have put in place, with this penitentiary system, the jail system and stuff, we still see how these people act inside, even with these laws put in place. You want to tell me you don't see what's going on?
I have no idea.
And now you're saying,
He's
What I'm
basically saying, like,
is,
look at the prisoners, look how uncouth they are, look how animalistic they are, look how inhuman they are. No, Dave, no. No, I don't see them as less. I don't see them as barbaric or innately criminal or innately immoral. They're people. They are scared and they are hurting and they are downtrodden. And any kind of reaction they have to their imprisonment, I mean, you trap an animal and see how much it likes you. Is it going to bite you? Is it going to try and chew its bloody leg off to get out of the cage, to escape the snare? Yes, it will. Humans, for all of our wondrous brains, are still animals. And you put us in a box and we are not going to be happy about it. So no, Dave.
So why don't we let them all go? Yeah, let's let them all go. What do you think about that?
So that's a false equivalence. I think we could.
Yeah, I mean, if we're gonna put it out there, we might as well put it out there.
No, what you this is where your belief system leads you. You say that your God or Jesus come to rehabilitate you. Hey,
no, you're going to let her
I'm about to go the fuck off on you.
Yeah.
You say that your Jesus came to rehabilitate you, right? To make you a morally superior person. Yet the first thing that you jump to is just let the prisoners all go. What we are talking about is, one, an unjust rounding of children who simply just was born in a different part of the world. Don't forget about the children that are in these detention centers who will also be subject to this bill of making them slave labor. We are also talking about the even with criminals in the criminal justice system and rehabilitating them, making our recidivism rates low. First off, Europe, the countries across Europe have low recidivism rates. One, because they kicked Jesus out of their countries. And they focus on the human. They focus on rehabilitating the human. Investing in the human. You just say either use them as slave labor or let them out and let them be criminals. There's no rehabilitation in your Jesus' plan.
Yeah. I would say that you're not really aligning on our humanist sort of track here, Dave, because you're not seeing them as humans. You don't see them as people. And that's a problem. What do you think about that?
I can speak now? Okay. I heard all you guys have to say. You guys are right. They shouldn't put them to work. These guys that are being incarcerated. For what it's worth, I believe if there's a serial killer out there, someone who's going out there unaliving people, and finally get caught, what do you want them to do? Just lock him up and not give him something to do?
Well, if a person is truly too dangerous to be in society, then as a humanist, I would want their needs to be provided for, give them stimulation, education, offer them work if they want it, but don't mandate it, and pay them a fair wage for it, even if they are incarcerated, right? Try and rehabilitate them, but if you can't, at least give them comfort and dignity as a human being. Because yes, they may have taken lives, and yes, they may be mentally deviant in some way that is not fixable, but they are still a human being, and they deserve a base level of human dignity and decency. And I believe that across the board. It's why I don't get on board with concepts like hell, infinite punishment for finite crimes. There is no crime you can commit that is bad enough that you should be punished eternally. And that's another reason why I have trouble getting on board with the moral fabric of religion a lot of the times, because the punishments are too harsh for the crimes. And so, if you truly believe that... Oh, okay, go ahead.
No, go ahead, finish up.
Look, basically, if you truly believe in being a humanist, you have to put aside the idea of punishment and retribution, vengeance. Like, those are all non-humanist things, and they're all things that God is very much all about. You want to try and help everyone, even if you would otherwise think they don't deserve it, because they're human.
Like, do you not know that they still have necessities when they're locked up? That most of them don't have family that can send them commissary.
I said they are being provided for. They don't just
No, they're not.
with the keys.
No, they're not. No, they're not. Most of them have to pay for their basic needs while they're in there. And they have to have family that will put money on their books so that they can buy toothbrushes, deodorant, shampoo, soap, slippers, t-shirts. And if they're working and not getting paid for it or not getting paid a fair wage, then they still can barely survive even when they're locked up.
Yep. The incidents.
I know a few people who got the education while being incarcerated. They didn't get education outside. It was when they were actually, put in there. They had some kind of self-reflection. And don't misunderstand. Being in there sucks. You know what I'm saying? Being in there sucks. You have all this time in your hands to do some self-reflecting, which is why some people make parole and they let them go. But having been there for so long, sometimes they can't even function right when you let them back out into society. Then they have to go commit crimes again and go back in there. Why? Because that is all they know. You guys are looking at things from your perspective.
Think about the fact that there's not any rehabilitative investment made into them to even get them ready for that. Like I if you look at Europe's prison system and how they rehabilitate their criminals across multiple countries, while I think it's Sweden, their prison system is set up for like an apartment. And while the person is in prison, they're teaching them how to be a productive citizen when they go back out into the world with the rest of the population, so that it's not a shock.
Mm-hmm.
They're changing them. Like your Bible talks about, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. But you all don't believe that there's any work that actually needs to go into that. And when you believe in magic, nothing really happens. And so when a person finds Jesus in prison, because that's where he gets his road dogs, in prison, when they find him in prison, they come out and they're the same person. They go back to prison so they can see Jesus again. Because no transformation is happening.
I am going to stand by what I believe at the end of the day. I don't see Christians who actually believe in Jesus going out there committing crimes.
Oh, you do.
So,
The majority of the prison system,
I get
less than 1% of the people in prison are atheists. The majority of people in prison believe in a God, and the majority of them believe in Jesus. So that's not true.
Yeah, you've just committed what's called a no true Scotsman fallacy, where it's like, no true Christian would commit a crime. Also, again, we weren't really talking about legal and illegal. We're talking about moral and immoral, empathetic and non-empathetic, humanist and non-humanist. Like, I bet you've committed plenty of crimes and not even known it, or don't even consider them thing. I mean, have you ever downloaded a movie off the internet? You ever jaywalked? You ever done speeding? You ever, fudged numbers on a tax return sheet? I'm sure you've not lived an entirely uncriminal life. And just committing one crime does not make you a criminal. It means you have done a crime. And it doesn't necessarily make you immoral to have committed a crime either, right? We don't encourage people to go out there and start breaking laws willy-nilly saying that it's moral, but we do want to make the distinction between legality and morality, legality and ethics. So I really want to hope that we would align morally on things, but it seems that retribution and punishment is in your purview, and I almost hesitate to start talking about
Hey,
other
I
moral
never
dimensions.
said that. I never said that. Come on, man. We've been talking. I never said that. And you know,
Okay, I'll take your word for
I
it.
get,
Okay.
I get, yeah. I mean, I never said that. You just put something in my mouth that I didn't
Okay,
say.
I apologize. I don't
I
want to
get what
confuse.
you're saying. I get what you're saying that they are using these people in jail, you know, to do hard labor, and then they're not giving them anything for it. Like they're doing it for free. I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
Would
and
it
I agree with you that the system's
far-fetched?
broken. Go ahead.
Yeah, the system is broken. I agree with that. Would it be far-fetched for me to say if it's possible to avoid, you know, committing those crimes, you know, where does that ball fall on? It falls on us.
Yeah, we
We are
should
the one who
decriminalize things
actually
that
have
shouldn't
to
be
decide if we
criminalized.
want to go.
You know, there's laws that have been recently put in places that, for example, mean that if your gender expression does not match that which is on your identification, that's a crime. Or you go into a bathroom that doesn't align with your gender assigned at birth, that's a crime. I don't think those laws are moral, and I think people should break those laws personally. And I think I'm going to get slapped
I
on the
mean,
wrist for that.
I
But
only believe
they're
in
not
two
humanist.
genders. If
Oh boy. Okay. I'm afraid that I don't think we're going to find common moral ground because. Well, actually, let me ask you this question. Let me put it this way: do you want trans people and gay people in the LGBT community to flourish maximally as humans? Do you want them to be happy, healthy, and whole?
they are humans, who said they're not? They are humans.
Yeah, but do you want them to be flourishing maximally? Do you want them to be happy, healthy, whole, and living a contented life?
When you said if I want them to flourish, I think some of the most successful people in this day and age are actually those people, those trans and those gay people. So I'm not gonna put myself in between someone else's happiness. If that's what they want to do, that's them. You don't see us, you know, trying to stop people from living the way they want to live, basically.
I do see other Christians doing that. It's Christians that put these laws in place.
That's not me. That's
I'm not saying
me.
it to you.
But
so would you come with us? Would you come with us arm in arm to want these laws struck down and to give people the right to live authentically, to love who they want to love and express their gender in any way they want?
We're not stopping them from doing that.
They are. Oh my goodness, and it's getting worse.
Are you not aware that trans people no longer can hold a passport?
Yeah, I know.
Okay, so who did that? Who did that?
I believe in two genders.
Yeah, that's that, and you're sitting here like gaslighting us as if you, yeah, and you're sitting here gaslighting us as if you would go hand in hand with us to fight for the human rights, the basic rights for a trans person in our country. You believe that just because you are straight, or just because you identify as the gender that you were born with, that you deserve better rights.
I never said that.
Do you believe that, do you think that it's right that trans people can no longer hold a passport?
No, I don't think that's right. But I'm saying,
okay, and so the question was, would you fight arm in arm with us for trans people to have basic human rights and share the same rights that you share?
Yeah, let's fight for all of them, even those engaged in bestiality. Let's fight for all of them. At the end.
What the hell did you just say?
That's false equivalence.
Yeah,
no.
Why did you do that?
Dave, shut you. David, quiet. Thinker, please respond.
The fact that you even brought up bestiality when we're talking about the rights of trans people means that you are fucking lying to us right now. You don't believe that trans people should have the same rights that you have. And then you see them as beasts. You don't see them as human. You fucking lie. And you're up here pretending so that everybody can think that you are a different type of Christian. You are not. Your beliefs get in the way of humanity. That's why you cared more about who gets the credit for morality. You cared more about whether or not whatever success we have in humanity and making an impact and making the world better, you want to make sure your God and your fucked up belief gets credit for it.
Yeah. I don't know how much more productive we can be with this conversation. I really wanted to align with you, but there are significant, perhaps insurmountable moral differences between us. I don't care where your morals come from. I find them abhorrent. I'm sorry. Is there anything else you want to say to Dave?
No.
Yeah, just one thing. I'm saying if you guys are advocating to fight for trans people, let's fight for all of them. I never said anything wrong.
You absolutely said something wrong. Being trans is nothing like being into bestiality. That's absolutely horrific.
What I'm saying.
And the reason that it's horrific is partially because you don't know why it's horrific. Oh my goodness gracious.
You're full of shit, Dave.
It's let's let all the pedophiles out and stuff as well. Let's give rights to everybody. No, and I tried so hard to be nice. I tried so hard, and I have failed, and I am sorry.
You didn't fail.
Yeah.
Dave failed. Dave failed. You did not fail at all, Jamie. No, shut up.
You guys are
Dave failed. Dave is a horrible human being, unfortunately. Dave ascribes to the belief in a God that other human beings told him. Dave is getting his belief system and his morals from other humans, because Dave doesn't talk to a God. And it was humans who wrote in this book what a God said. Dave failed. You did not.
Yeah. I mean, I'd still like to give
I love you guys, man. It's good talk, man. I appreciate you guys having me on, okay? Maybe we'll talk again some other time, but...
perhaps so, but I think this conversation may have run.
If I rose your blood pressure, I'm sorry. Okay.
No, you're enjoying it, Dave. You live for this.
It's okay.
You're enjoying it. This is what you and Jesus do.
Let it all go. I think we should bring this.
Let it all go. Oh, yeah.
Bye, Dave.
Okay.
Don't go to prison.
Bye. Yeah, I never will.
Get off the stage. Bye.
Okay. Can you put him back? Can you take him out? That was. I mean, I still think it's worth engaging in such conversations.
Oh, it disconnected me. I'm sorry.
To illustrate why we have these conversations. And like I said, I was doing everything in my power to try and say, hey, here's what we believe, here's what we think is moral. Do you agree with these things? And he obviously didn't. And that was bad. I'll still give him, as a humanist, I'll give him a bit of the benefit of the doubt. Like I said, I'm nicer than you, maybe just more foolish than you. That he's like, I don't think of any person's like inherently bad. He just has bad thoughts and feelings, and hopefully he can deconstruct from them one day. But I don't know.
I don't know, Jim. So I talk to these type of people every night on my live. And these are people who advocate for children dying for disobeying their parents. And giving these types of thoughts and these type of people the benefit of the doubt, to me, is why we get headlines that say mom drowned daughter because God told her to.
Yeah, fair. I mean, this is the the problem of tolerance and the issues that I have, like trying to reach out to people to find allyship, but also we don't want to give cover to people with bad ideas or harmful ideas, dangerous ideas. So yeah, it was a bit sus that when the boys are talking, it's fine, but as soon as a lady steps in, it's interruption city, and like, no, let you talk. I mean, I'm fairly certain you're far more knowledgeable on this kind of stuff than I am. I'm just some pro-am. But anyway.
I just want to say also, like what we were talking about at the beginning of the live, right?
Yeah.
The issue is having people who pretend to be a part of, the goal of fighting for humanity, and they wear a mask and they infiltrate. But while they're inside, they are dangerous to us, right? And we have to be able to suss them out, to be able to see them for who they are and call them for what they are.
Yep.
Because if we are able to work with progressive believers in order to stop what's happening right now, we cannot give the benefit of the doubt.
Perhaps I should turn the cynicism up a little bit for the protection of others, if not for myself. If you are a believer, we still have open lines, and if you feel that you can talk on these points better and you're better aligned with what we're about, then and can tell us how you square that circle with what your book says, do let us know. But there are other ways you can interact with the atheist community of Austin. If you want to get involved, you can come to the Free Thought Library every Sunday for watch parties. We go live at 1, but doors open at 12. We also have a meetup page. We do events at the library. So if you're in the Austin area and you want to actually physically get involved in the community events, things like Philosophy Under the Stars, game nights. We have special events sometimes with special guests, fundraisers, things like that. You can go to tiny.cc/meetup.ACA, I believe. I'm just going to double check that though, because oh my goodness, I'm trying to remember everything and it's just in my brain. Meetup ACA, yeah. That's ACA Meetup, pardon me, I was wrong. And then, of course, you can follow us on all of our socials. We are on Talk Heathen. Yeah. And so we TikTokers out there. We love a good pun here, dad jokes, as well as YouTube. And we do go live prior to many broadcasts with pre-show live shows on TikTok as well. And I'm also going to just segue in while we wait for more calls or more interaction from the audience, to say that if you want to help us out, there are a few ways to do that. You can get on board with super chats, and we also take donations via Zephy. So if any super chats come through, I think I may have saw one pop up earlier in the show, but I don't know whether we can get that popped up so we can read it. But you can also go to our Patreon. Okay, where is it? Oh, I can't read it. Can someone pop it in the chat for me?
It says I cannot take on the morality of a God that commands slavery. I cannot take on the morality of a God that commands slavery, massacre, and misogyny.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's the point we're trying to make. And thank you, Super Chatter, for that point. We do not want to encourage morals that don't align with our own. We're trying to essentially put aside that question of where do your morals come from and just align. As long as they align with ours, we can maybe work with you. But if you are going to go, yeah, well, misogyny and slavery and stuff, it's fine in a certain context. It's like, no, I'm sorry, that's just not how this works. But yes, if you do want to also support us, you can go through our Patreon. You can get involved by going to tiny.cc/Patreon-TH. And if you do so, you may be counted among this list of fantastic people, which I will relay to you now, and pardon the pallid glow of my screen. We got a number 1, Oops, All Singularity. Number 2, Dingleberry Jackson. I always love reading their name. Number 3, Kalevi Helveti. Number 4, Period, or full stop, as we say in the UK, just a dot. Number 5, KC Kickendall. And then honourable mention to Iconoclast. I'm assuming of the Londonderry Iconoclasts. So yeah, again, you want to get some very, very well appreciated dollary dues to our cause, you can go to tiny.cc/Patreon-TH. So is there anyone else in the chat that wants to come up? No? Do we have any calls in the studio? We still have open lines. Let's see how we're getting on here. Pardon me.
I think they care more about, like, I can't get past the giving their God credit.
Yeah, that's a pretty rough thing to get over. Like, and also it saddens me when people are doing good work and they are being helpful and they are improving the lives of themselves and others and saying, "Oh, I do it because of Jesus." Like, no, you do it because of you, and you're giving the credit to your imaginary friend.
Yeah.
I don't really like that. But anyway, if no one else wants to come up and defend their faith or tell us that we are barking completely up the wrong tree, I would just like to thank the Thinker for coming on as a wonderful co-host and co-pilot, like handling the TikTok masterfully there. We wouldn't have had that conversation otherwise, which was great. Where can we find your stuff?
My TikTok page is actually on stage right now at Thinker or at Ingrowth. I go live Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday nights on TikTok. And I'm live in like during the witch hours. Like they call me a witch anyway. No, I'm live during third shift until like 10 a.m. So that I get a plethora of different types of colors. So that's where you can find me. And then on YouTube as well at Arch Thinker.
Excellent. I should probably start tuning into you because I work overnights and get boring at 3 a.m. So hearing some interesting conversation might well keep me perked up between calls. And so I think it's time that we send out some love rings. Is there any particular group of people you want to send love out to?
To the nerds, I want to say what's up to the nerd community. Thank y'all so much. I see y'all deep in the chat. Appreciate y'all for coming over and supporting. To the deconstruction community, to Justin Deconstruction, appreciate him for all that he does for the deconstruction community as well. And to ACA, thank y'all so much for all that y'all do.
I thank them constantly for giving me some little part of their platform. And yes, to all the newcomers who followed Thinker here, absolutely fantastic to have you as part of the community, and hopefully we'll see you again soon. And just remember that the atheist community of Austin is a place for everyone. And if you don't believe, you can feel safe here. But if you do believe, we don't hate you. We're just not convinced.
We want the truth! So watch Truth Wanted Live, Fridays at 7 p.m. Central. Visit tiny.cc/YTTW and call into the show at 512-991-9242 or connect online at tiny.cc/call-TW.